We are back inside the action, folks, known as In My Own Words, the podcast, with yours truly, Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine. Best form of Crimson Tide football news, notes, and information, dialogue, debate, conversation, whatever you want to call it. We're back into the show, and we dive into previewing these wide receivers for Alabama for the 2020 season. And this is a very loaded positional group, despite the fact that Jerry Jeudy going to the NFL draft, also Henry Ruggs III pursuing a pro career as well. But the Crimson Tide does return Devontae Smith at wide receiver, who had a 1,000-yard year in 2019, 1,256 yards and 14 touchdowns. Jalen Waddle was back, 560 yards receiving in 2019 with 6 scores. He was also dynamic as a punt returner and should have had more than 1 punt return for a touchdown this year, but unfortunately there was a couple of block in the back calls. But hopefully Alabama will get better with that in this upcoming season in the fall. So Devontae Smith back, Jalen Waddle back, Terrell Shavers is back at 6'6" out of Lewisville, Texas. John Mechie is back. Slade Bowden, the Slade Cat, out of West Monroe, Louisiana, he's back. Xavier Williams is back, and also Chadarius Towson back as well. In terms of the guys that enrolled early, we're looking at Thiu Jones-Bell from the Florida area. A lot of potential with that young man. Trayshawn Holden at 6'3", 200 pounds. Very, very physical specimen. And, of course, a young man that will be coming in the summer. We got Javon Baker also. So, very deep group at wide receiver. Now, the question is, who's the number 3 guy? That's the question. We all know what Devontae Smith can do. We saw him as a freshman catch 2 game-winning touchdowns in 2017. The most notable one, 2nd and 26, Tua Tagovailoa to Smitty, 41 yards, popped the bubbly, Nick Saban excited. You beat Georgia 26-23 in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So that's the most heralded one, but we know clearly what Devontae Smith is capable of doing. We know what Jalen Waddle is capable of. We have seen him catch passes, split defensive backs in half, he takes away the angle from defensive backs, scores touchdowns, just tremendous acceleration, the human joystick, if you will, and his ability on kick return, punt return, outstanding. In a previous show, I talked about how, to some extent, Alabama's going to have to find a way to allow Waddle to touch the football between 15 and 20 times a game. I'm just saying. I know Nick Saban wants to do the ball control thing. I know Nick Saban wants to run the football with Najee Harris and Brian Robinson and Trey Sanders and Keegan Robinson and the 3 freshmen that are in the program right now. I get that, but I mean, if you want to really entertain this fan base, you put this ball into the hands of Jalen Waddle 15 to 20 times and just let, Houdini just do his thing wearing number 17 inside Bryant-Denny Stadium. But you know what Jalen Waddle's capable of. The question is, who becomes the 3rd guy? Who steps up as the 3rd piece in this rotation for Mac Jones, Bryce Young, or whomever wins the quarterback job? Who becomes the 3rd piece in this rotation at wide receiver to take some pressure off Smitty and Waddle, or to use a better term, to enhance, both of those 2 guys? And Alabama's got a list of players that can do this. I mean, people have been waiting on Terrell Shavers for a minute now. At 6'6", out of Lewisville, Texas. He came into the 2017 class, a high 4-star athlete who ran a verified 4.38 40 time at one of the high school competitions. I believe it was either the Nike opening. It was one of those competitions, but he ran a verified 4.38 40 time. But Terrell Shavers, with that type of size, height, athleticism, he can be a 3rd down target. He can be a jump ball target. He can be a red zone guy. Very good possession wide receiver. He did catch a couple of passes last season, including one against Western Carolina on senior day, where he got up in the air and brought in a pass from one Tua Tagovailoa of 20 yards. So Terrell Shavers is special. If you look at John Mechie, I, for one, have gone out to call him Calvin Ridley's Canadian twin. John Mechie from Canada, a guy that, body-wise, he is 6 feet, 195 pounds, wears number 3. Well, started off wearing number 3, much like Calvin. He would switch his number to number 8 in the during the middle portion of the regular season, but a guy in Mechie that speed, hands, route running, big playmaking ability, the most valuable player, the MVP of last year's A-Day spring game performance. So therein lies Mechie. Slade Bowden out of Louisiana, a guy that was the Gatorade Player of the Year for the state of Louisiana when he came in the 2017 class, a guy that, despite him coming in as a 3-star, a tremendous athlete, played quarterback, played receiver, played some defense also in high school. And the last time Alabama kind of had a do-it-all player was Blake Sims. Blake Sims played it all from 2010 to 2014 before becoming the starting quarterback in the 2014 season. But we're going to continue this conversation on the other side of the break, wrap this thing up, and put a pretty bow on this edition of In My Own Words, folks. We're coming right back.
Touchdown Alabama Magazine is Alabama football's premier publication. A subscription to Touchdown Alabama Magazine is the perfect gift for any Alabama fan. For exclusive news and information, recruiting updates, a free annual print magazine, and more, go to touchdownalabama.com and click join. Only $5.95 per month, or pay $49.95 for a full year subscription. That's a saving of almost $22. Make sure to subscribe before it's too late and get our new freshly printed end of the year magazine issue. Go to touchdownalabama.com today and roll Tide.
All right, folks, continuing the conversation on In My Own Words, the podcast, hottest show on the streets with yours truly, Stephen M. Smith of Touchdown Alabama Magazine, and left off there with my man Slade Bowden, of whom a do-everything type of player. He caught passes last year, threw a touchdown pass last season, played well on special teams, ran the Wildcat formation at quarterback, picked up a couple of huge first downs in some games. So a guy that, when you talk to players about him, they compare him to Julian Edelman of the New England Patriots. Could he be the third guy? Remains to be seen. You also have Xavier Williams, Chadarius Towson, and of course, I've already mentioned the freshman guys, Thaiu Jones-Bell. I got a chance to see him at the Under Armour All-America practice in Orlando, Florida. And speed is there, hands there, route running's there, body type's there. He could be a big-time player. Trayshawn Holden, that size at 6'3", 200 pounds. Watch out. Alabama can get him on the field. Who knows what can happen? And then Javon Baker. So the depth, tremendous depth at the wide receiver position for Alabama, but who will be the number 3 guy? If I had to put my thumb on this, if I had to put the Stephen M. Smith approval on who would be the third guy, let's see here. Who do I have as the third guy? Give me Terrell Shavers, man. Give me Terrell Shavers. No, I like Mechie, I like Bowden, I like Xavier, Ziggy Williams, I like Chad Towson, but just the size of Terrell Shavers. You can't coach 6'6". You can't. 6'6", that type of athleticism, that type of speed on the field. If he can find a way this season to break into that rotation, I'm telling you, he can be the jump ball weapon. He can be the third down go-to guy. He can be the red zone target. He can be more than just a possession receiver. He can be a game breaker. Terrell Shavers can be a serious game breaker. So as much as I like everybody, on this roster, if I had to put my Stephen M. Smith stamp of approval on some things, give me Terrell Shavers out of Louisville, Texas. Really think he could be a big-time factor. But it's going to be interesting, folks, with hopefully Judy does well in the NFL, which I believe he will. Henry Ruggs is going to do well in the NFL. You know what you're getting in Waddle and Smitty. looking forward to seeing who that third guy is on the rise. And just like, and also, at wide receiver, we can actually conjoin, this other piece right here. I'm looking forward to seeing who Alabama could also have at tight end. I mean, that's another spot. I mean, tight end can kind of go in conjunction with wide receiver. It's a position that Nick Saban has been kind of concerned about. He has talked about the Tide needing to get more depth at that position, more big-time playmakers at that position, more bodies at that position, more athleticism at that position, more experience at that spot, which is the reason why Alabama was able to land one Carl Tucker, the graduate transfer from North Carolina. Tide fans are going to be very excited to see what he can do on the field. Jaleel Billingsley out of Chicago, who came into the 2019 class and had a pretty good season this past year. He got into some games, got into some action, got his feet wet, showed he can catch the football, still is growing, maturing as a blocking tight end, but a guy that does have the ability, the capability, the potential to be kind of the O.J. Howard / Irv Smith type of player. So therein lies Jaleel Billingsley. Crimson Tide does bring back Major Tennyson. It still has Miller Forrestall. I believe Miller Forrestall is still on the roster. I will fact check that. But in the event that Miller Forrestall is still on the roster, you've got some tight ends for Jeff Banks to work with. The big thing at that spot is, having that tight end, having that guy at the position that can be that security blanket, if you will, for the quarterback spot. Because the biggest help to a quarterback is having a tight end. You look at the NFL, for so long, Drew Brees had Jimmy Graham, right? For so long, Peyton Manning had guys like Dallas Clark. For the longest period of time, you had, in the old days, you had Joe Montana and Dwight Clark. You've had, of course, Phillip Rivers and Antonio Gates. So there has been a marriage between tight end and quarterback. The New Orleans Saints at one point in time had Drew Brees and Jimmy Graham. So, as always, the biggest help to a quarterback is a big time tight end. So hopefully Alabama can solve that position as well. But looking forward to what it will do at wide receiver as my guy Terrell Shavers. Hopefully he can break through here. But as always, you want the best in news, notes, information, and coverage on Alabama football. You can get this by downloading the Touchdown Alabama Magazine app. Very simple, very easy to do. You do this by going to your iPhone App Store if you are rocking Team Apple, Google Play Store if you just so happen to have the Android phone, the podcast options for your audio listening pleasures. We got you covered. If your thing is iTunes or Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, Overcast.fm, or iHeartRadio, we have you covered, people. If the good and gracious Lord sees fit, I will return on Monday, continuing the conversation of Alabama football. But as always, I leave you with my 3 things on the weekend. Husbands, love your wives. Wives, be good to those husbands. Children, as the weekend, still do what you need to do in regarding those chores. Get your 3 hearty meals a day, 3 hearty laughs a day. Protect yourself, protect the loved ones around you. Until next time, folks, I'm your man, Stephen M. Smith, and this has been In My Own Words. Thank you for watching Touchdown Alabama Magazine's YouTube channel. To continue to get the best in the Alabama football content, subscribe here and turn on your notifications to stay connected with the hottest shows covering your Crimson Tide.